Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And it's me, Rolando, and my beautiful wife. Say hello.
Hi.
And Jerry, the guinea pig, which we rescued. It's a rescued guinea pig. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of guinea pigs.
Well, they've rescued people rescued guinea pigs from pet shelters.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Anyway, it wasn't a pet shelter. I actually found them on the street in a cage. That is crazy. Anyway, so we're actually doing our first TV show review. Well, basically, it's going to be for the whole season, but obviously, the recently the Good Place finished season 4, which is the end of the series, and we're both big fans of the show. I mean, we binge watched. We started this about 2 years ago, right? We binge watched the first two
Yeah.
seasons, and then we started watching the first few few episodes of the third season, and then we caught up, and then this
Well,
year
we had watched like the first episode way back when it
Well,
first
you
came
did. I
on,
didn't.
and I was Are you sure? I thought we both did,
No, I didn't.
and I was kind of like,
Yeah.
didn't think much about the show, so
Yeah, I
I
didn't think much about the show
didn't
either,
really
and
go
then all of a
back
sudden
to
I
it.
just and then
But I'm not exactly sure why we started to binge watch it.
I think we decided to give it another shot. I think we did kind of like what we did with Big Bang Theory the first time. We said let's give it another shot, and then I liked it, and then I kind of knew what it was about. Um, anyway, if you've never seen the Good Place, binge watch it. I mean, and then we're gonna get to spoilers here. But it is a show about philosophy and ethics that is a comedy. It's basically philosophy and ethics with fart jokes. And it works fantastically. It's an incredibly good show. It was an incredibly good show. It was one of my favorite shows of all time. I learned so much about, which is the crazy thing, is you learn so much about philosophy and philosophy content, concepts. There were people that we related to. There were people that we knew. Like, we knew who Eleanor was in our life, pretty much at the beginning. I mean, at
That's the
least
first she learned her lesson.
before she learned her lessons, which the person that we know probably will never learn her lessons. But we definitely, we love. I love the show and all that stuff. But I want to talk about the last episode for a couple of things that I found very interesting, and a couple of things that kind of hit me hard. If you haven't seen the show, do not, turn off. Go watch it if you're a fan of the show, because I'm gonna basically spoil you things. But anyway, the show is the final episode, which is longer than any other episode. I mean, it was like almost an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
Running time, it was an hour and a half. We actually watched it live and with commercials, which we normally never do. Um, Basically, it's they got to the point where when you got to the good place, first they realized that when you get to the good place, because you can never leave the good place for eternity, you're going to be having all of the things that you like, and then that ends up turning your brain into mush, which ironically Eleanor predicted that.
I don't
she
remember her.
she predicted that in the episode before that you would get tired of it.
Well, yeah, but she never said about much.
But she would get tired of things, that
Yeah.
you would get tired of eternal.
Which I don't know. That's how I feel about retirement. I don't think I'll get ever tired of doing nothing.
So anyway, so they discovered that in the previous episode, the one before the final episode, which is whenever you're ready. The previous episode was Patty, and they discovered that your brain is going to turn too much because you can never leave. So the lesson is that your reward is leaving the good place when you are satisfied with your life, when you have satisfied all of your needs and your soul is satisfied, you can walk into the unknown, into the void, into the whatever. And that was the reward. And then everybody was happy again. Because people were just zombies. And also that brought life. And that was interesting. Death,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is what brought, life.
Non-existence, I guess.
Non existence is what brought closure to everybody or to the people. And the first person to go to go decide is Jason, which is,
Actually, it ended up being he decided, but he didn't go.
yeah, well, you're jumping ahead. But, first is Jason. He discovers that he has pretty much, he's satisfied. He got his dream to play a perfect Madden game with Blake Bortles or something like that as the quarterback. And he did it at Jacksonville in front of all of the fans and the big screen. So that was his satisfaction. And he ends up going, but because he lost the locket that he was going to give to Janet, he ends up actually sticking around. So let's get to that real quick. So Jason was a monk.
Well, he was pretending to be.
He was pretending to be a monk because that was the torture in the good place. Because the good place was the bad place, not the good place in the first season. So he was a monk. So at the end, he turned to be a monk because he had all of these Baramis, which I guess Barami is the amount of time, because time is circular in the afterlife. He spent a long time in that wood by himself in his own brain, like a monk. Yeah. Of course, he didn't realize that's what he did, but he became a monk at the end. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, he reflected on.
He reflected on himself. Mm-hmm. He had self-reflection, which I didn't think he was possible until, I guess he wanted to see Janet again to give her the locket because he found the locket in the woods, right? Mm-hmm. And the fact that he could stay here as long as he wanted to, that was his new purpose until he saw Janet again. So that was kind of interesting. Then we get to Jamil, or Tahani, and Tahani was ready to leave until she discovered that she wasn't. She wanted to be an architect, which is the first of the changing from a person now to an eternal. That was the first clue of things that could happen, because they allowed her to be as an intern with the Eternals and the demons and the afterlife architects, because you had to be you couldn't be a human and be an architect. But she was able to accomplish that, which broke the rule.
Okay.
Now here comes the one that I thought it was the deepest, and then to the second deepest meaning that I found. Chidi is next, and he realizes he's ready to walk to the door, but Eleanor is not ready.
She's not ready, and
she's not ready for him.
She doesn't want him to leave.
She doesn't want him to leave, so she does everything that she can in her power to keep him in the good place and to keep him there, to the point where she basically tells him, if you leave, I'm going to be sad. Don't leave, which he agreed to. Even though he was ready a long time ago, but he didn't want to do it. But he finally did reach that point where he knew he was ready to leave. And the two interesting things that happened with that exchange, which that's when both of us started crying, because we know we were going to cry, because that was the main part. The feels were going to start coming out. But what interesting part was the book that she was reading, and I pulled it up, and hopefully I can find it here fairly quickly, was... I've just had it. So the book that she finally got to read was... I had it and then it disappeared. Okay. Crap. Was T.M. Scanlon's What We Owe to Each Other, which was a book on contractualism, which is another philosophy or form of ethics. And contractualism is basically you and I agree to a rule, and it's just as long as we both agree to the rule. Contractualism is the stop sign at the end of the block. It's a rule. That's the law. You might not agree with it, but that's how the society works. That's contractualism.
Right.
she was keeping him, but because she was using contractualism as she can make a rule that Cheaties cannot leave because they make Eleanor. They make, see, you're right there. The rules is there should not be Jerry's in the bed. So if if Cheaties leave, Cheaties cannot leave because it makes Eleanor sad.
Mm-hmm.
But she couldn't justify the rule, which is something that you have to do in contractualism. She couldn't find a justification for the rule. So what she owed him, which is what the name of the book is, what we owe each other, is for him to go. Mm-hmm. Now, for somebody that is as opinionated as me, and you know that I'm very opinionated with a lot of things, I do a lot of these rules. So let's go back to the set of friends that we kind of distance ourselves from. Uh-huh. The rule that we made was we're not going to be friends with people that cannot be the kind of friends to us that we are to them.
Yeah.
But we can make that justification on that particular rule. Uh-huh. So that's the justification. It's not that we're being selfish, is we deserve better. Right? Uh-huh. But I come to the realization I cannot make that same rule to the people that live next door to us. Because I cannot justify being that way towards who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Because there is no justification, because I'm hurting myself more or hurting the other person more. So I came to that realization on that. Mm-hmm. I can make that justification. As long as if I can make a justification for the rule, mm-hmm. which I did with those guys, with that first set of friends of ours, then you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was, I thought that was pretty deep. What do you think? I mean, I thought that was a pretty deep moment, at least for Eleanor. I finally did catch, because I was watching a clip on it. Remember when they were looking at the thing, and remember she said, "Do me a favor, leave in the middle of the night before I wake up." Did you catch what he said about spirituality with the water and the waves?
Oh yeah.
I didn't catch that. I didn't get it at first, but I mean that was actually pretty deep. So I mean, she basically asked him for one last piece of wisdom, and Chidi basically said about you think of an ocean and you think of the water in the ocean and you think of a wave, and the wave comes to shore and it's a wave. You can measure it. You can see how high the wave is, what the shape of the wave is, how many waves are coming. Mm-hmm. But once it gets to the shore, the wave is gone. But the water's still there. That's pretty effing deep. Yeah. The wave was just a form of the water at that point. Yeah. I thought that was pretty awesome. So now I'm gonna get to, obviously, Michael. So then Michael gets to, and of course it's really loud. Go ahead, Jerry. Jerry wants to talk. So so we get so Michael finally wants to walk through the door, and he can't because he's a demon. I thought it was really funny.
That was pretty funny.
And Eleanor figures out. But before that, Eleanor was ready to go.
Yeah.
And then she realized she's not ready to go yet.
Yeah.
That she needed to help the girl that was in the medium place to go through the trials to get to the good place.
Yeah.
That she was owed that. She should have had that chance. Because they made an exception for her for the medium place because of whatever the unique circumstances that it were. I thought that was very interesting. And then so she gets to the trial, and she gets, Tahani is the one that creates the trial for her, the architect of the test. And then Michael wants to leave, and he can't leave. And then Eleanor realizes that Michael's reward should be to be a human, mm-hmm. and to get to experience what everybody else was experiencing, and he couldn't relate to. And so she helps him to be a human and go, and now he leaves the good place. because it got to the point where it was self-running, and he realized they didn't need him, and he always felt that was going to be a fear that he would have had, right?
Mm-hmm.
um I find it I find it interesting because the two people that she helped, I don't know if you caught up to this or not, but the two people that she helped was the girl that was in a good place, which was arguably her before she met her friends.
Mm-hmm.
She was her before Eleanor got better,
Yeah.
and Michael, which was what she was striving to be. Those are the two people that she helped. The one that she started, because that was her base of her,
Mm-hmm.
and what Michael was, and that's who she ended up. Those are the two people that she ended up helping. Now here is what I think the ending is, because we were discussing about the ending. So at the end, Eleanor walks through the door, walks through the archways, and by the way, I'm sad that Janet was left alone.
Yeah, she was.
But she had the memory of everybody,
Yeah,
so it didn't matter. So, I mean, she could have actually created her own people,
I guess.
because she's an omnipotent. I also found it interesting though that the only thing Janet didn't know is what happens when you go through those doors.
Oh,
She was the most powerful person in the whole afterlife, and the one thing she didn't know was that. That's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Any rate, so when Eleanor leaves to go to the good, to leave the good place, and she walks through the door, it appears that everything goes up, and then it goes down to that one piece of mail that was put in the wrong place.
uh-huh.
And then that guy gets the mail to Michael, and Michael reads
throws it away.
before he throws it away, and then he
And
realizes
he thinks about it.
he thinks about
and
it.
He digs it out of the trash and decides to deliver it to Michael.
Which was a little message to Take It Sleazy, which is a callback to something that she had said in one of the episodes earlier. I think what the meaning behind it was that when somebody decides that they had a complete life, that all of those little signs that you see in life are people that have passed through. Because Michael saw it as a sign. I don't think he necessarily because I don't think he had any memories of who these people were. I don't think he had any memories. I don't think he did. I think that was the whole point. Is when he was going to go back to Earth, he didn't know what anything was going to. My ring just went flying again. He didn't know what anything was going to be. I don't think he did.
Oh. No, he did, because he was like, well, a friend of mine said keep it sleepy.
Okay, all right.
He remembers.
Okay, but I think what it is it's life's little moments that you see, that, because remember, he didn't think about it. He threw it away, and then he was like, oh, I should just give it to that guy. So those little signs might be what is when you have lived a full life, and you feel that you have reached everything that you wanted to reach. And I think that's what it was. I think that's what you become. So Chidi became something to somebody else, and Jason became something to somebody else. It was that one act, that final act. I don't think there was I don't think he became her, or she became him. I don't think it was a reincarnation kind of a thing. I think it was everything, because you go through life, and sometimes you see those little signs.
Yeah, I guess so.
So what are your final thoughts on the show? I know that you didn't think you had a lot of things to say about it, or whatever. What did you learn about the show in general? I can tell you the things that I learned. I mean, obviously, I told you some of them. But...
Other than, I think you can redeem yourself after you've died. I mean, that was pretty much the gist of that. I mean, it was kind of like...
What about ethics and stuff like that? And ethics and philosophy and stuff like that?
She was just a crappy person, but then realized when she wanted to be a good person.
Yeah. But in the framework of the philosophy and the ethics, what did you learn? Really? Nothing? no. I learned Cantonism, or Cantonism. Remember remember I called you and I said, "Oh my God, that is me in a nutshell." That you can make a rule. If you cannot make a rule universal, then it's not. You can't. Basically, if it's good for the gander, gander is good for the geese, or whatever. Whatever way you want to frame it. But I thought that was a nice realization of myself. Well, like, okay, that's a good way of rationing, ethics and interaction with people and other humans in the world. I mean, that was part of the show. I like that. I mean, I'll give a toast. I love this show, and I think you love this show too. I mean, I think this is, this turned out to be one of the most, I think, DVR shows of all time. It was like the ratings were not there, but I think the reason I was on the air all that long is because they knew that it was getting viewed.
I think though too we had decided to watch The Good Place after we went to Universal Studios. Remember?
And they were talking about The Good Place, yeah.
Yeah, we took that backlot tour and
they were filming some of the episodes.
They were. Yeah.
We decided to give it another shot.
Talking about it, so I think that's somewhat of why we decided to start watching it again.
But I think to me this show is kind of like the Beatles, where the Beatles was only around for 10 years, but you have enjoyment. I think this show is going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Because it is such a unique show. I mean, it really is philosophy and ethics and fart jokes together, and you would have never thought of it. But I mean, I you sometimes you look through YouTube videos and you put in The Good Place. There are lectures about it in Yale about the ethics and how they dealt with ethics and philosophy in the show. I mean, they did. The first season was Hell is Each Other, which is another book. I don't want to look it up, but there's another book. They even made a movie about it. And they actually had the characters in there, except for one character, which they added. 3 of the characters in that book, and it was a movie, were the characters of Eleanor, Tahani, and I think Chidi. And if not Chidi, there was Jason.
Uh-huh.
But those people were together, and then they discovered that was their hell, was being with each other. So hell was each other.
Oh, wow.
So again, they did this, and they did this so elegantly. They left it at the height of the show, because they could have gone for another 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I think it was being successful, but you knew when you had your run. And you know what? Their self-realization is, we've accomplished everything that we need to accomplish in this. So they walked through the door. They walked through the arch. The show walked through the arch and ceased to exist because they accomplished everything they needed to accomplish.
Okay.
There was nothing else to accomplish. That's good. It's a good lesson to learn. Still sad about the show ending.
That was sad.
It was sad. What was your favorite part of it? What was your favorite show and favorite scenes or in the whole show, the whole season? I know that you don't remember things. I have the photographic memory. You don't.
The favorite episode or the favorite part of this last episode?
Well, both.
Definitely when Eleanor was trying to keep Chidi from walking through the arch, and Chidi was like, I won't because of you, and then she realized how she needed to let go because he was ready.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty funny. He went and created a calendar for her.
It was a wrestling calendar.
Was it?
Yeah. Remember she liked Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Oh, yeah.
He was wearing a singlet at the beginning in the front of the calendar, and then the other one of the months he was posed with a title belt across it.
So that was pretty funny. I think when they first found the middle place, I think that was my favorite episode. Because that was the middle place was, well, you got $1 million.
You got your favorite, you got your favorite beer, but it's lukewarm. It was everything Everything you wanted, but worse, but made bad.
I'm gonna pee on you.
Yeah, you grab him or
All
her
right.
or Jerry. It's just Jerry.
Are you ready to
Wrap it up.
wrap it up?
I know.
I need to put Jerry.
We need to put Jerry back in his cage. But hey, if everybody got to meet Jerry. The quick story, here's what really happened is I was with a customer and I thought that the stuff that was on the street was actually theirs. And all of it was, except for one thing, which was an actual cage with a guinea pig inside. Somebody threw away a guinea pig, Jerry, in a cage in Las Vegas, in the desert, and left him out where a coyote could have gotten to him
With just water.
with just water. And there was not even food.
Just a little bit of water.
And yeah, I
Shallow
mean,
bowl of water. That was it.
if nobody would have figured out that was that, because it just looked like a cage. It didn't look like like there was something inside of it.
She was about half the size she is now.
Yeah, she was really small. She was
Poor
she
girl.
was a baby, and now she's more than just a baby, and loud and biting and doing all of the things guinea pigs do. But she's our Jerry. Anyway, love the show. Thank you for Michael Shore for creating that show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. If the top 5, definitely Scrubs.
Chewing on my watch.
Scrubs, Family Ties, and definitely this one is in my top. It's Batman, the old series Batman, one of my favorite shows of all time. This is one of my top 5. We can binge watch it again and laugh again, and
I
be
think I'd
entertained.
like to start watching it from the beginning again, just to
Knowing
see
what it is,
the
yeah.
stuff that I missed and junk.
Anyway, so thank you guys for producing a great show and give us entertainment for the last few years for us.
Mm-hmm.
And good night, Bob. Wherever the hell you are.